Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Tuesday, October the 15th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and Matt Robinson in the house, ready to break down the Tuesday NHL card. Hopefully everyone north of the border here in Canada had a very enjoyable Canadian Thanksgiving yesterday and enjoyed some hockey as well. It was a very busy day of hockey, day games, and a couple of games at night as well. We'll get right into recapping last night briefly. I'll be honest, that's why they play the games, right? You think you know what's going to happen, and we try to do our best to prognosticate and predict what's going to happen ahead of time. But who would have thought goal-paloozas in the afternoon with Florida, Boston, and LA, Ottawa, and you'd have the low-scoring game being Utah, New Jersey. Who saw that coming yesterday afternoon? But that's the way it was. I'm sure as hell glad I talked myself out of the under in that LA, Ottawa game. Incredible stuff. 8-7. For the Ottawa Senators, not a good first showing for Anton Forsberg. And to be honest, Darcy Kemper was not that much better. They were hung out to dry, though. It was one of those early games where neither team brought their collective team defense at all in any way, shape, or form in that game. And it ended up being obviously a 8-7 win. It was just going to be who was going to get that last goal. And it ended up being the Ottawa Senators with that crazy 8-7 win over the LA Kings. How about the Florida Panthers? Very impressive. They've now won 2 in a row over the Boston Bruins to begin the year, and they get the job done. Shorthanded, undermanned, but they still find a way to defeat the Boston Bruins in that game yesterday afternoon. Impressive effort. No Barkov, no Tkachuk, no problem. They find a way to win and beat the Bruins 4-3. And then, of course, you look, New Jersey, Utah. We thought we'd see more goals, and we thought, hey, Utah, hard to stop them. Well, New Jersey found the answer, didn't they? Shutout for the Devils over the Utah Hockey Club yesterday, 3-0. We go to the night games. The New York Rangers bounced back from a loss to that aforementioned Utah team, and they beat the Detroit Red Wings 4-2. How about a last-second first period over for Alex B. Smith, thanks to Dylan Larkin. And there's been a couple of first period overs the last 2 days. I think Alex was on the winning end of both because the Minnesota-Winnipeg was a last-second first period over Sunday, and we had another one as well last night with Detroit and the Rangers. Rangers end up getting the 4-2 victory. I had the Rangers team. I had the Rangers first period puck line. That hurt, but I also had the Rangers team total over 3.5, which cashed. So no harm, no foul there. Rangers respond. Much better game out of Igor Shesterkin. As you'd expect, he's not going to take kindly to giving up 6 goals like he did to Utah. The Montreal Canadiens and Samuel Montembeault looks human again. 6 goals for the Pittsburgh Penguins and a 6-3 win for the Penguins. I got to admit, wrong side with Montreal for me. I mean, Pittsburgh was the better. You could tell right away Pittsburgh came out. They were the better team right from the opening puck drop. They carried the play to Montreal early in the game. You got to give them their due. Still not a big fan of the outlook for the Penguins this year, but you have to give them their due when they play well, and they outplayed Montreal last night. Even when Montreal made that run and took the lead in the second period, it never felt like Montreal was playing good enough that lead was safe. And sure enough, Pittsburgh just took over in the third period and ended up with the 6-3 win over the Montreal Canadiens. I'm still a little worried about Tristan Jarry, though. It's a couple of those goals, like he's not tracking the puck too well. He's still, to me, someone that's going to have to prove it to me as far as quality play in net. And then the last game of the night, more problems for the Colorado Avalanche, more problems for Alexander Georgiev. One of those goals, you want to know how bad it is for Georgiev? He tries to make a poke check in the first period, and the puck ricochets off the Islander player and into the net. That tells you all you need to know about just what's going on with him right now. And nothing's going right now for Alexander Georgiev. But let's not just put it on him. He's a large part of what's wrong and why they're giving up so many goals. This blue line is breaking down left and right. They're treating the puck like a hand grenade. Alex had a perfect summation of what's going on with Colorado on Twitter X last night. Lazy, uninspired, passionless at times, the Colorado Avalanche look like. And Cale Makar deserves some blame. He's making mistakes that a defenseman of his caliber should never make with the puck, turning it over, getting caught up the ice. It's happening a lot with Cale Makar. Cale Makar is a better defenseman than we've seen in some of these games this year. He's got to pick his game up. There's no doubt. I know you had Devon Taves missing, but that's no excuse for another shoddy, horrific defensive effort from the Colorado Avalanche last night, and the New York Islanders took advantage. I'm sounding like I'm angry. From a betting perspective, I'm not. Couldn't have gone better that game. That was the game that really rescued the day for me because it was kind of a disappointing day until that point. But we had the Islanders money line, Islanders team total over. We had the over by Fecta, first period and full game over with the Islanders and Avs. So it really played out well in that game for me. And the Islanders get the victory and keep the Avs winless so far on the season. And like I said, the Islanders to me are a better offensive team this year. You know, they put up 6 against Colorado last night. We saw them even in the loss to Utah. They put 5 on the board. They got shut out by Dallas, but I think you got to give Dallas credit because they shut 2 teams out back-to-back nights over the weekend. So to me, they are a better offensive team, and and Anthony Duclair is already paying dividends. He scored in 2 of the first 3 games for the Islanders, including last night, getting one of their goals. So nice win for the Islanders, and more problems and more questions to be answered right now for the Colorado Avalanche. Alex, your take on Monday's action?
Yeah, that's the biggest takeaway by far is the Avs. And I posted the question on Twitter. Is Jared Bednar's job in question right now? Could he be on the chopping block? And I don't think that's going to solve anything if you fire him. I think there's some deeper issues in that. Like I said, this team has played lazy and uninspired hockey going back to the second half of last year. And we talked about how Georgiev's overworked. So you're going to see some poor efforts from him, and it's not entirely his fault. If you're overworked, you're tired, you need a rest. There's nothing you can do about that if they keep throwing you out there. But like I said, seeing guys like Kel McCarr dogging it, getting caught out of position, you can't have that. You can't have those top guys starting to take nights off too, because you don't have the talent and depth you had the last several years to carry you around. If those guys aren't showing up, then no one's showing up. And that's a problem for this Colorado team early in the season. So I don't know what needs to be turned around, what needs to be shaken up in that locker room, but something needs to change sooner than later. So that was definitely the biggest takeaway for me yesterday. Ottawa and LA, like I said, we both were looking at the unders, and thank God with that goalie change, we stayed away from.
I pulled the cord the moment Allmark wasn't playing. Thank fuck I did that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then for Forsberg to go down with an injury as well too. I mean that's just completely unfortunate to see. This guy cannot stay healthy. He when he's healthy, he's a solid goaltender. But the injury bug has been him time and time again. So if Ottawa's now down in the third and fourth string goaltenders potentially, that could be really problematic for that club. And LA, valiant effort to battle and hang around. Like I said, the team that's been on the road for a long time now. We talked about it in the a couple of days ago. Jimmy Murphy mentioned about how that team, the Kings, were playing in Quebec City to prepare for this long East Coast trip, but that's just added days. So now when we start looking at these next couple of games, now is going to be the time I think to continue to fade the LA Kings. So those are my 2 biggest takeaways from yesterday. Colorado struggling mightily, and now might be the time to go against the LA Kings here at the end of this road trip.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And like I said, who saw 8-7 with Ottawa and LA yesterday? Not many people. Matt's with us, of course, Tuesdays and Thursdays once again this season. And he's not waiting for November, for Movember. He's got the mustache rocking already. He's brought the lip sweater out already here in the middle of October. Matt, how was the day for you yesterday?
Yeah, similar to you guys. I was pretty heavy on Utah and New Jersey. I think we saw that Utah's human. I was living on the hype. They've got some young guys. I still think they're going to be a big over team for the duration.
I think
of
the
this
Rangers
season.
game drained them a little bit. That was just such a high frenetic pace game, and they pulled it out. They kept coming back. They won. It's almost like they ran out of gas yesterday. It looked like that to me. What did you think, Matt?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I mean, they did have some chances. Credit to New Jersey's goalie throughout that game, but yeah, it from the get-go after the first period, I was like, I mishad Utah in this game. It's not their night. Did get that Stefan Nason goal, which is always a nice touch. Sort of made up for some of my losses on expecting a lot of goals in that game. I did actually have the Kings Senators over at 6.5, which was obviously not a sweat. And then I was watching that game after the Utah New Jersey game ended and was able to get in at 13.5 when it was 6-6. And obviously both teams scored from there, and then it went to overtime. So that was a nice little live bet. Gotta love those when, you bet the over 1.5 remainder of the game and both teams score and you're just, enjoying overtime. But outside of that, I was definitely feeling that the Avs were going to kind of step up. And so that was a little bit surprising to see them get beat like that. And I do start to wonder, what's going on in that locker room, coaching staff, things like that. I know it's early in the season, it's not really time to panic, but, to lose to the Islanders 6-2 at home, that's not something you've really seen out of the Avs in, I don't know, the last 5 or 6 years. So interesting to see how that plays out. The only other nice play I had that first period over in the Rangers Detroit game. And I had walked away from the bar, given up hope with about 18 seconds left. There was a chipped out puck, and then Larkin scored that goal to make it 1-1. So that was obviously nice to see. But pretty even day. Had some good wins, but obviously had some losses as well. It seems like every game I took to go over didn't, and then the games that I kind of stayed off of went way over. So hopefully we get some overs tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. That is, well, I think this is a night where the overs to me, we'll get to the card in just a moment, didn't jump off the page at me tonight as much as they normally would. But there are a few that I like in the slate. There's a couple of really interesting sides that just from a more so not X's and O's. I find a lot of the sides I like are more so fundamentals and intangibles, or intangibles and situationals, I should say. As far as some of the sides that I'm liking here on this Tuesday card. You mentioned cashing with Stefan Nason to score a goal. A little foreshadowing for later. Stefan Nason might be worth a look once again tonight for a lot of different reasons as well. Yeah. And, former team angle, we'll get to that more in just a moment. But, yeah, there's definitely something along those lines that might be making him a worthy goal prop candidate once again here tonight. All right, let's get into Tuesday's card. We'll begin with Vegas and Washington, the first road game of the year for the Vegas Golden Knights. They opened the season with a 3-game homestand, victories against Colorado, St. Louis, and Anaheim on that 3-game homestand. Now they take the trip to D.C. to start a road trip here. Washington, Vegas minus 130, road favorite, 6 the total in this game. We'll see if Vegas can keep it up. They've looked very impressive early in the season. There's no doubt about that. I like I like that they've shown a lot more flash offensively. Obviously Eichel and Stone are the headliners, but Dorofeyev's chipping in. Hurdle's been solid. Olofsson's been a nice addition, getting that chemistry back going again with Jack Eichel, Theodore from the blue line, close shave Barbashev, Ivan Barbashev. We talked about how we think he's got more offensive potential in him than maybe he showed last year. So far, he is showing that for the Vegas Golden Knights. But now you're going on the road. You're taking on a Washington team that's coming off a 5-3 loss in their season opener and their home opener against the New Jersey Devils. That game was a terrific result for me. We were on New Jersey in so many different ways in that game. First period, full game. First period puck line was my Saturday best bet on the show. And the reason for that is because New Jersey had played 3 games already. It was their 4th game. It was Washington's first game. And we figured that was a significant advantage. Hell, someone that's played, Calder Brooks, our Saturday guest, agreed that, it felt like New Jersey was a good bet and that it does matter that a team has played a few games compared to a team that hasn't played, like Washington. And New Jersey took advantage of that. But now Washington does have a game under their belt. Should help them a bit. And I like that they kept responding. They fell behind. They battled back a couple of times. It was good to see. Their offense, it's going to have to be offense by committee. Ovechkin's not going to be able to carry them offensively at this stage of his career. The blue line, as we saw against New Jersey, is still a little shaky. And what are you going to get from the 2 goaltenders? Questions there with Charlie Lindgren and Logan Thompson. Tonight, no-brainer. You figured that Spencer Carberry was going to turn to Logan Thompson in net, of course, facing his old team, the team that traded him away, and traded him away at the draft, by the way. He's signing autographs for Vegas Golden Knights fans in Las Vegas, and at that moment, he gets dealt from the Vegas Golden Knights to the Washington Capitals. So, little chip on your shoulder game here for Logan Thompson, potentially tonight, here against his old team, the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't have a strong feel for this. It's a game I I'm probably going to pass. But given the intangibles and the fact Washington actually did beat Vegas last year in Washington, 3-0 shutout for the Capitals over the Golden Knights here in Washington. I actually think the Capitals could be live. I don't fully trust them because I love the way Vegas has looked so far. But can they replicate that on the road? And I think Logan Thompson's got to step up. I think he's a good goalie, and he's going to want to put his best foot forward and his best performance out there on the ice tonight against Vegas. So. Actually slightly lean Washington here as a home underdog. Don't know if I've got the gumption, as Darren Pang would say, though, to bet it. Alex, what do you think here? Vegas and Washington.
Yeah, I actually bet this yesterday. I got plus 120. I thought that was an awfully high number, and I knew it was going to move. So, and here we are now with plus 110, plus 105s. I did see the highest number, the plus 116 around at circa. So if you're fortunate enough to grab that, you're in Nevada, Colorado, you can get that one. But yeah, I think Logan Thompson getting the start against his old team, obviously going to be motivated, and it's not just the fact that he's left and going against Vegas, but he's also playing against Aiden Hill. So to have that battle and say, hey, we were this great tandem, but you chose the wrong guy. Have that kind of a moment. I think that'll be a big spot for them. I wouldn't be on Washington if this was later on in the season. Early in the year, they play better hockey. Vegas kind of struggles on the road early in the year too. We've seen them on some of these East Coast trips lose to some teams that they should be able to beat. And I think this could be one of those spots here. So, like I said, it was knowing that I was getting a better price as well. But that plus 110, I would play it just as a smaller unit size. But I'm going with Capitals here.
All right, Washington plus 110. Matt, what do you like here? Golden Knights Capitals.
Yeah, I lean Washington here as well. I think, Vegas is off to a good start. I think they're going on the road. It's one of those situations where I wouldn't be shocked if the Knights win this game. But I think it's kind of a revenge spot for the Capitals coming off a loss on the home opener. It's just something gives me Capitals vibes here. So I think that's going to be my only play. I go back and forth on the over. I don't hate the first period over, but I think I'm going to pass on overs for this game and just take Capitals money line.
Yeah. I lean under too. I think this might be an under here. It was 3-0 last year in Washington. Vegas, I still think there's going to be more lower scoring games in their future. I know they had the high scoring game with Colorado and with St. Louis, but the Anaheim game, they got back to that nice, solid, sturdy, structured defensive game. And I think Bruce Cassidy will probably emphasize that now that they're going on the road trip here. Let's play good team defense and build off that for our offense. So the under makes an, and plus I think Thompson's going to want to play a good game, and it wouldn't surprise me if he does in between the pipes for the Washington Capitals. His debut, his first start, by the way, with the Washington Capitals as well. Going into this. As far as props go, I'm going to go back to Barbashev and Dorofeyev. Dorofeyev scored against Anaheim, his first goal. He had a bunch of chances. We've talked about some good value with him, and I think that remains the case for Vegas. For Washington going into this game, Protas is up on the top line tonight with Strome and Ovechkin. There might be a little value there with Alexei Protas here for the Washington Capitals getting that spot on the top line. That's the sweet spot we like for goal props, undervalued goal props, players getting that top line shot that don't normally do. And I think we have that tonight with Protas there for Washington. All right, Vancouver and Tampa Bay. We've got the Lightning minus 135 home favorites, 6.5 being the total here in this one. Now, I want to backpedal a little bit. I was very, very outspoken yesterday saying the teams that have not won a game, don't bet on them until they win. The teams that have not lost a game, don't bet against them until they lose. But here's the thing with this game. I'm talking about the teams that are like winless, like Edmonton, where they've been a big favorite every game. That's when I'm talking about it. It's all about the price point. Edmonton as a winless team, why the hell are you laying minus 180? Until they win, don't be laying a price like that with a winless hockey team. Even last week with Vancouver, yeah, they're still winless, but don't lay those prices against Calgary and against Philadelphia that you were being asked to lay with Vancouver last night. Yes, I said don't bet on the winless teams until they win. This is a little bit different, okay, because of the price. Okay, Vancouver's plus 115 now. They're getting a plus price. They're now going on the road. They were a very good road team last year. Let's not forget that. I could see this being a spot where they band together and they have their best game tonight. I could clearly see that. And there's concerns about Tampa in this spot. And I cashed a ticket with Tampa Bay Friday night, 4-1 win against Carolina. Nikita Kucherov went berserk right away, picking up right where he left off last year. A hat trick and 4 points in the win over Carolina. He factored in on all four Tampa Bay goals in that hockey game. But again, with this Lightning team, two of those goals, there were 2 empty net goals, and then 2 of the 3 non-empty net goals were power play goals. So again, are we going to be singing this same old song and dance here with the Lightning this year? Not enough at 5-on-5, because that was the issue last year. We're just too power play dependent. We're the Tampa Bay Lightning here in last year. So we'll see if they can get a little more 5-on-5 proficiency. Vancouver is going to go with Artur Shilovs, in net. It's going to be Andrei Vasilevsky. They've been off since Friday, Tampa Bay. They were supposed to play Saturday, the back end of a home-and-home against Carolina in Tampa Bay. But, of course, the events caused by the hurricane, Milton, ended up postponing that game. So they've been off since Friday. There's been now you were on the road in Carolina. You could focus on playing hockey in that 4-1 win. But now you're back home in Tampa. You see the destruction and everything that's gone on there because of the hurricane. There's distractions now that you're back home. It's a little bit of a dubious spot to me for Tampa Bay here. You've been off since Friday. You had the postponed game. And you got the hurricane distraction that you're coming home to after the win against Carolina. And you've got a Vancouver team that I think now there's definitely a sense of urgency and some desperation in Vancouver. And going on the road where they played some really good hockey last year away from home. You could argue they played every bit as good, if not better, on the road than they did at home last year, Vancouver. So I'm actually leaning, and I did take a small shot here with Vancouver, plus 115 in this spot. I did. I just think I like Tampa. There'll be times to make money, and that. I think they're going to have a better season, but I don't love this spot for them. Don't love this price with them. And I think Vancouver going on the road could be the best thing to happen for them. I know Tampa Bay's played Vancouver very well over the years, but at this price, with the fact that they can band together this Canucks team, take that Army-like approach here, try to get off the schneid. I think Vancouver, I think they're going to show up tonight and have a good effort. Will it be enough to win? That's another story, but I don't mind taking them here, plus 115, given the price they're at. Alex, what do you think here? Canucks Lightning.
Not so fast, my friend. I like Tampa Bay here. I like them in regulation. I got plus 110. And I think it's actually going to be quite the opposite of what you're saying with Tampa. I think coming back home, knowing what's all been going on in the last several weeks, not just this storm, but the storm before, all the different destruction and devastation throughout that Tampa, St. Pete area, get back home, have the home opener, have the ceremony, give the fans something to cheer about for a good 3 hours. I think we see a good effort here from Tampa Bay. This is a cheap price to get Vasilevsky and this team at home. Like said, the offense already looking hot. The top 6 with Kucherov picking up right where he left off from last year. I'm hoping Gensel can get some points and goals off of that as well. But I think it's going to be a good spot here for Tampa. Like I said, Vancouver, they definitely need to be on the road. I think they are going to eventually get their wins and find their footing away from home. But I don't think it's going to be this game here. So give me Tampa Bay in regulation plus 110.
All right, indeed. There's a really interesting name I'm seeing potentially playing on the top line tonight for the Vancouver Canucks. I will get to that in just a moment. You're talking about value. There might be a value. And by the way, I'm betting Nick Paul again. I still think great value with him. Obviously, it was the Kucherov show against Carolina, but I think Nick Paul, maybe that second line that with him, Hagel and Cirelli, chips in a little bit more here for Tampa Bay tonight. Maddie, what do you think here, Vancouver, Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I kind of go back and forth. I agree with points both you guys made. Tampa is finally getting that home opener. Vancouver's in sort of a desperation spot. Again, it's so early in the season. They're not actually in a desperation spot, but I know they would like to get a win. I think I'm just going to jump on the first period over here. I think it's going to be a fast start in Tampa. I think Tampa's going to be excited to get that home opener going. And Vancouver's going to be looking to score early. So, I could see a 1-1 first period, so both teams to score is not the worst play, but I think I'll play it safe. I'm seeing it at like minus 130. I'm just going to take the first period over and hope we get a good game out of this one.
All right, first
Yeah,
period over.
I do have that on my card as well. I got mine at 128 at FanDuel.
Yeah, this is one I don't have a strong feel for the total. I would prefer first period. If you're going to look at an over here, I do think the first period might be the better one. But I could see it being a cagey game too, especially from a Vancouver standpoint, going on the road, looking to tighten things up here a bit. But like I said, I agree with what these two have said, that if you like the over, I think I like the first period over a little bit. Well, I don't know if I don't think he's much of a goal scorer, but I think just to get some physicality and try to open things up for Brock Besser and JT Miller on that top line. Rick Tocchet looks like he might be putting Arshdeep Bains on the top line tonight with Miller and Besser. And if that's the case, look, I get it. Not a bona fide goal scorer by any stretch. Even his numbers in the minors in the AHL bear that out. And he's mostly been a fourth-line player when he's been up with the Canucks. But you're going to give me plus 700 on someone playing on the top line. I have to take it. Simple as that. So we're going to sprinkle on that here. A little Arshdeep Bains, plus 700 here for the Vancouver Canucks. Looks like he might be up on that top line tonight alongside Brock Besser and JT Miller here in this game. All right, Florida and Columbus. What more can you say in what should be a bubbling cauldron of emotion tonight inside Nationwide Arena? First home game since the passing of Johnny Gaudreau, their teammate. Florida minus 145 road favorites, 6 the total in this game. Obviously, I'm very interested to see how these two teams here, Florida and Columbus, both play out. I'm interested to see how the ceremony is before the game. I'm sure they've got so much planned to pay homage and pay tribute to Johnny Gaudreau. I still get a lump in my throat talking about it, even months later, just how just absolutely gut-wrenching it is to see that happen to the Gaudreau family, losing both brothers like that. I love the gesture. I know Philadelphia made this gesture toward Pop Gaudreau. So did Columbus. He was practicing with the team yesterday, so that was great to see. It's almost like it's therapy, if you will, to be out there on the ice, because he's a hockey coach himself, Johnny Gaudreau's father. And to see that was very, very good. Look, to me, this is one of the situational spots and tangible betting spots of probably the entire season. That doesn't mean it's going to pan out, because we know Florida's still the better team. These are the defending Stanley Cup champions. But you got to believe Columbus is playing with such heavy hearts and emotion that they're going to want to put their absolute best product and foot forward on the ice tonight. A full effort for 60 minutes. They're small. It's a minuscule way to pay tribute, because you're never going to bring Johnny back. But if you can go out there and you can play a hell of a great hockey game and win on this night, that you're really, paying your tribute to Johnny Gaudreau and your former fallen teammate. I think you're going to see that here for the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight, that kind of an effort from them. And it actually sets up well from the Florida perspective, too, that Columbus could be a live dog here tonight, because they're still without Barkov. They're still without Tkachuk. They're playing the second night of a back-to-back after a physical, intense, and ultra-satisfying win. That's the best part about this spot for Columbus. They get Florida off a win as opposed to Florida off a loss. So this could be that chance for Columbus to really take it here, take Florida in this game, and Spencer Knight likely in net. And I saw a lot of that performance from Spencer Knight. I still think he's going to be good long-term. I think there's potential at least for it. But he's still in the process of getting his game back. This is not a guy that's played a lot of hockey the last year or two, that he's been away in the player assistance program. And in the Buffalo game, he started that game, and if Florida lost it, he definitely looked a little off his angle, just, feeling the puck. It's going to be a process for Spencer Knight, to get all the way back as far as at his best level. And we saw that in the loss that Florida suffered against Buffalo with him in net. So, and look, Columbus too. I mean, the loss to Minnesota, they outshot the Wild. They could have won that game easily, and not easily, but they could have won that game with a bounce or two here or there, and an extra save here or there. And then they beat Colorado in very impressive fashion on the road. Now, there's some of the bloom taken off that victory, because Colorado's looked like ass, especially defensively so far this season. But still, for a Columbus team to go into Colorado and win, you still got to give them their credit for winning that game. you got to believe this is going to be one heck of an effort team wide. And I wouldn't shock me if they take the ice tonight with the mindset of this is game 7 of a Stanley Cup final tonight. I really think you're going to get that kind of effort. So for me, this is a larger position than normal. This game's either going to this game's either going to make my night and make me a very happy guy, or it's going to probably make it this game alone a losing night for me. That's where I'm at with this game. We're on Columbus first period money line plus 120. We're on Columbus plus 135 money line. We're on Columbus first period team total, laying a price to get 1 goal, around minus 170. Columbus full game team total over 2.5, minus 140. And we're on first period and full game over in this game, because I do believe they're all, and by the way, if you look at the Florida at Columbus history of the games between these teams in Columbus, lots of goals. And I don't think they're going to completely shut down Florida either, even though I think they've got a real good chance to win this game. So we're heavily invested. Let's put it that way. Columbus first period money line, first period team total over. Columbus full game money line, Columbus full game team total over 2.5. And also first period over, full game over with the Panthers and the Blue Jackets. Alex, Florida, Columbus, like I say, should be a lot of emotion tonight inside Nationwide.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be just like I said, a very emotional start to that game, and that's why I like the same position as you do with Columbus, but the totals scare me a little bit. I think we could maybe see a little bit more subdued of a start. So first period over. If we do see that, it might look to grab that in game. But like I said, it's going to be tough to kind of just gauge what the vibes will be. Pregame, and then of course once the ceremony takes place, and then puck drops, it's going to be, I think, two different kinds of emotion. But I do think Columbus comes out hot in this one. I got the team total over 3 at even money over at BetMGM. 2.5 at 140. I would endorse that as well. But I just went on and got that 3 flat for a better price, along with Columbus plus 125 on the money line. And there's a goal prop that I like here in this game as well. I'll talk about a little bit later. You mute it.
Sorry about that. Yeah, for as far as goal props for this game for Florida, to me, Verhaeghe, Bennett, Rodriguez, anyone from that top line, he's got to chip in. There might maybe worth a look. For Columbus, there's a lot. I mean, I like Fantilli. He had a really good game against Colorado. LeBank's got value on the second line. Sean Monahan, you have to look at in this game, 100%. Because this guy was like basically best buddies with Johnny Gaudreau. I mean, they were as close as you could be. They were, frickin' frack, those two guys, inseparable, back when they were in Calgary together. And then, of course, now Monahan was looking forward to being reunited with Johnny here in Columbus. And, of course, that's not happening now. And but still, I expect a hell of a game from Monahan. And let's go with the all of a sudden early season from the blue line, hot shooting defenseman, Zach Werenski. How about that? Back-to-back games with a goal for him coming into this season. Upwards of plus 450 at ProLine Plus to score a goal tonight for Zach Werenski. So I think that's worth a shot tonight in the goal prop market. Matt, what do you like here? Florida, Columbus.
Yeah, I sort of lean with Alex here that it's going to be an interesting start. I think it's going to be an emotional night. I'm not really sure what to expect early on. I do think Columbus is going to play their hearts out, but I do think there's going to be a lot of emotion in that building. So I'm not sure how things are going to play out early. I'm going to keep it pretty simple and just take Columbus money line here. I think they got to get a win. But, Florida's banged up. No Barkov, no Matty T. But I just, part of me leans Columbus first period, puck line. Part of me thinks that for 10 minutes they'll just kind of pass it around and, not try and give anything up and, be thinking about what's going on in that ceremony beforehand. I, like you, Ian, I get choked up a little bit talking about it. I know it's going to be, it's one of those games I want to be watching the pre-games, but I want to watch that special that they do, but it's going to be tough. So, yeah, I'm just going to keep it simple and just take Columbus money line. I hope they get the win for Johnny. And I think those guys will play with heart, but again, I expect a good game out of Monahan. I expect Werenski to keep playing hot, but I just, this is an interesting one for me. Obviously something we don't see every season. So, we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, there's that potential that maybe right after the ceremony, maybe a little lull, maybe there's going to be, an adjustment period for sure. That's why I wanted to make sure I, didn't put it, because I was initially thinking first period with the majority of the bets, or putting more of my overall stake on the first period. I've said, no, we're going to split this up evenly, because I think this could be a game where maybe it does start slow, and that second and third period it ramps up, and Columbus plays a little bit better, less jittery or shaky in the second and the third as opposed to the first period. And I agree with the comments in the chat. Werenski's had a hell of a first two games. If Zach Werenski can stay healthy and play like he has so far in the first two games, the Blue Jackets blue line, which without him is below average, with him it can be average and maybe even slightly above average. That's how important he is. That's how good he can be on that blue line for the Jackets. So having Zach Werenski present, very important for them. All right, New Jersey and Carolina. We've got Carolina minus 160, home favorites, 6 the total in this game. It only took one game for Rod Brind'Amour to be pissed off. He was not happy, not a happy camper about that 4-1 loss to Tampa Bay. He said, I didn't even know what I was watching out there. Talking about the sloppiness, the turnovers, the breakdowns. He wasn't thrilled at all, one bit. That's him basically calling out his team after one game. So I expect Carolina to show up in particular early. They do catch the Devils second of back-to-back after a win at home against Utah, a shutout win yesterday. We'll see how this one plays out. I wouldn't want to touch Carolina for the full game because, again, I continue to think they're overpriced at home. I know long-term they've had a good home record, but look, they were a big, modest favorite at home against Tampa in the first game. They lost. But I do think the first period is a strong period for them after Brind'Amour's harsh criticisms, catching New Jersey, traveling after a day game yesterday. I like the first period puck line here on Carolina. I will take a shot with that at plus 170. It's the very same price I had with New Jersey with the first period puck line Saturday night. I think in the first period, you get a good effort from Carolina. It's going to be Jacob Markstrom in net tonight for the Devils. Of course, we saw Jake Allen play very well in a win against Utah yesterday. And Rod Brind'Amour going to our guy, Pyotr Kochetkov, in net tonight for the Carolina Hurricanes. Starting to make me think now that Rod's going to go platoon. He's not going to have a bona fide, surefire number one guy. It's a 1A, 1B. You're going to see Anderson one night, Kochetkov one night. Anderson one night, Kochetkov one night. I think that's probably the way it's going to go. Anderson played Friday. They lost that game. Wasn't all his fault, obviously. But going to Kochetkov, I'm not surprised tonight. And you know how we feel about Pyotr Kochetkov. We think he's got the goods to be the long-term viable number one in net for this franchise. We'll see how he plays tonight. Only bet for me, Carolina first period puck line in this one. Nice price too, plus 170 on that. Alex, what do you think here? Devils, Hurricanes.
Yeah, I like the goals early in this game, so I'm going with that first period over. Once again, FanDuel best option minus 128 for that over 1.5. Like I said, you see New Jersey getting fast starts. I think these are two teams, they know they're going to be neck and neck with each other. And Carolina's aware that New Jersey's gotten a lot better. And obviously one of those players from Carolina that's moved on to New Jersey, I'm sure we all have a piece of him, and we Stefan Nason. I have him as a goal scorer prop. Not a bargain bin play, but he's on my card tonight.
Well, it's not just that he scored in multiple games and it was a great pickup for the Devils, but he's facing his old team. He's returned to Carolina, where he was a big integral part of that team last year. He ended up playing some big games and big moments where he scored big goals for them, especially in the playoffs. So, he's going to want to put a good showing out there, making the return to Raleigh tonight. So, the man from Texas, and that's Matt Robinson's emotional attachment to him. But it makes all the sense in the world. This isn't token Matt Robinson betting Stefan Nason goal prop just because it's Stefan Nason. There's real good, legit reason to bet him to score a goal tonight, without a doubt. What do you think here, Matt? Devils, Hurricanes?
Yeah, I like goals early in this one. Again, I don't want to say one game into the season, Carolina's in desperation mode for a win. But they're going to come out swinging in the first period. So, and I do think, New Jersey being 5 games into the season, they've, They went over to Europe. They're now back. They're kind of in a rhythm. They looked pretty good last night, or I guess I should say yesterday in the morning, my time against Utah. So I think there will be goals early in this one. I don't hate both teams to score here. I'll probably just stay on that first period over, given that it's a pretty solid price. And then, how can you not take Stefan Nason? I know he's had a game or two over, a lot of the league, but he's tied for fourth in scoring, which is insane. He was a guy that was battling to just stay in the NHL 3 or 4 years ago. Has kind of made his mark as an NHL player, and now he's a big piece of this New Jersey team. He played a lot of minutes yesterday on the top power play with Jack Hughes. So if you can find it, anytime assist or anytime point as well, probably worth a look. But I'm seeing anytime goal in the plus 400, plus 420 range. I think, I'm not going to take it as a bargain, Ben. I think it's pretty obvious I'm going to take it as a bet, but
you don't want to be Captain Obvious with the bargain bin. I respect that.
Yeah. You want to bring something sort of unique. So, but I definitely will be on him. Hot start to the year for him. Love to see it. We were joking in a group text I'm in with a men's league team that he used to play on in the summertime, Stefan for MVP. So we'll see if he can continue at this pace. Obviously, that would be not real. But it's good to see him doing well.
Hey, we didn't see Sam Reinhart score almost 60 goals last year. So anything can happen.
I mean, if you told me preseason, and again, I know he's played a lot less games, but if you told me preseason Matthews would have 0 points and Stefan Nason would be fourth in the league, I would tell you you're crazy. So weirder things have happened, but I hope he continues. But I like goals early in this one. I think it'll slow down a bit. I could see a 3-2 game kind of going either way. Obviously some good value on New Jersey. They're 6 games into the season, or this will be their 6th game. But I go back and forth on the sides, so I'm just going to take the first period over here and then a couple prop bets. But I expect some goals early in this one.
Yeah, someone mentioned Dougie Ham. I honestly could see him scoring tonight. I've just got that weird feeling he might be able to find the back of the net. But yeah, we all like Stefan Nason props as well for New Jersey. And I agree with what Terry Edelman is saying in our chat. With Seamus Casey, 3 goals in the last 4 games. You're getting some incredible value with him. Now, the reason why you're getting that value is he's a bottom 6 forward right now. He's not going to be a bottom 6 forward maybe indefinitely if he keeps going like this. He's been a very bright surprise here early in the season for Sheldon Keefe's team. Patano's got him at 12-1. The Ontario-based sportsbook Patano is plus 1250 for Seamus Casey to score a goal tonight. That's got to be sprinkled on. I mean, for a guy that scored 3 goals in the last 4 games, there's no question. That's just an unbelievable price. First, again, 3 goals in the last 4 games. No question about that. For Carolina, Martinuk, I think, is someone that I think is going to score because he's had chances, and we know he can sometimes step up for them. And Paul Cotter, yes, someone mentioned Paul Cotter in the chat. He didn't score last game, but he's off to a hot start. He's upwards of plus 850 to score a goal tonight as well, Paul Cotter. So, I agree with that. So there's some good goal props, more so for New Jersey, but Carolina, we like a couple there as well for them tonight in this game. I think there was someone else too I was going to mention here for the Hurricanes. I thought there was someone moving up tonight. Let me just see if that's the case. Oh, it was Roslovic. Yeah, Roslovic's going to be in the top 6 tonight. Roslovic and Martinuk are the ones that I like the most here for Carolina tonight as far as goal props. All right, we go to Minnesota and St. Louis. Minnesota minus 120 road favorites, 6 the total. So Jared Spurgeon's hurt again? Are you shitting me? Really? Huh? Never saw that one coming. No. Oh, my God. Here we go again with fucking Jared Spurgeon and the goddamn injuries, man. It's absolutely absurd at this point. I feel bad. And it's not something to laugh at. It's just ridiculous at this point. I mean, you look at the last few seasons here, 54, 65. I mean, 16 games last year. He's cotton candy plastic body parts at this stage of his career. It's just absolutely it's horrible to see. If you're a Terry Edelman or any Minnesota Wild fan, I mean, you got to be ripping your hair out that this guy just can't stay on the ice. And he is important. when he does play, he's a solid defenseman. He's one of their steadier defensemen, good in his own end. And you lose that, they're not as good a defensive team. I've said that for years. You're also without Joel Eriksson-Ek. That's huge. That's a guy that can score, a guy that's a great defender, two-way center, big face-offs, does it all for you. And he's out as well tonight for this Minnesota Wild team. So they've got some key injuries. Spurgeon on the back end, Eriksson-Ek, Marcus Johansson's day-to-day. We'll see if they can make do without those guys. Philip Gustafsson confirmed in net for the Minnesota Wild tonight. Of course, he was in net for the one win that they got against Columbus with that 3-2 victory. And actually, he was in net for the Winnipeg game as well, where they lost 2-1 in overtime. Back in net here. Jordan Binnington gets the nod here for the St. Louis Blues in this game. St. Louis home opener, by the way. We'll see how they fare. They played San Jose. They got the win, although it wasn't easy. They lose, of course, to the Vegas Golden Knights on the road. And then, of course, they had the comeback win against Seattle last Tuesday in their home opener. So we'll see how this one goes. But I'm leaning Blues. I'm leaning draw. And I'm leaning first period or over by fecta, I should say, in this game as well with the Wild and the Blues. I continue to think the Wild will be more of an over team without Spurgeon and or without Brodin. How many times have I talked about Spurgeon and Brodin, Spurgeon and Brodin, Spurgeon and Brodin year after year, that when those two guys get injured, they are a weaker and in a lot of cases much weaker defensive hockey team. And I think you're going to see that. And obviously Spurgeon being out again already hurts. So and we know the Blues have some offensive punch this year, but we also know the Blues are a little sketchy defensively still, can still give up goals. So Blues and draw, going to take a little shot with both of those because I think it could be a close game. And I also like the first period over, full game over. What do you think here, Alex? Minnesota, St. Louis.
Yeah, we're around pretty much everything the same. I like the Blues. I like the draw. I like the first period over, and I like the full game over. But instead of going with the trifecta for the both teams to score in the first period, I'm going with it in the second period. Plus 128 available at FanDuel. Second period, both teams to score. Shout out to Jared Grubel. He put me on to this look with the last St. Louis game. So this is a trend that we're just starting to kind of follow. That's opened up over the last couple of games with St. Louis. Second period, both teams to score to go along with the first period over and full game over. You get that full game over 6 plus 105 at Bet Online. So I grabbed that over 6 minus $1.16 for the over 1.5. And then I got Blues plus 103 and then grab the draw there as well. He said definitely could see this being a back and forth game going past regulation and seeing the Blues getting a win in overtime or a shootout.
I think Blues did win one of the games in St. Louis between these two teams in overtime last year, if I'm not mistaken as well. So that would be a perfect result tonight for sure if that indeed comes to fruition here tonight in this game. Matt, what do you like here? Wild Blues.
Yeah, I'm on the over bifecta, excuse me, here. I think there's going to be some back and forth play. I like the draw play. I don't know if I'm going to jump on it, but obviously Minnesota's been very keen to get into overtime this season. And I do think St. Louis, if I was going to take a side here, I lean St. Louis. Home opener, they've had a decent start to the season. Minnesota, as you mentioned, does have some injuries. But yeah, overall, I mean, if you look at their series history, there's a few 3-1 games mixed in there, but 8-5, 5-3, 5-4 OT. I expect this to be a lot of goals, so I'm going to take that over bifecta. Will probably be my only plays on this one.
Yeah, initially I was not going to be on the total, but I started to look at it, and I see Joel Eriksson-Ek is a loss offensively. It's maybe even a bigger loss defensively for the Minnesota Wild, and absolutely Spurgeon's a loss defensively for this team. There's no doubt. And from what I'm seeing on Daily Faceoff, Liam Ogren might take the spot of Marcus Johansson on the second line for Minnesota if Johansson doesn't play. And that means if that's the case, Ogren will have some good value in the player prop market here for the Minnesota Wild. Marco Rossi, as Terry likes, Rossi point. You can take him to get a point or just split it between goal and assist. Same thing. But yeah, Rossi's always the one that's got a little more value compared to Kaprizov and Zuccarello and some of the other top 6 forwards for this team. But Ogren's upwards of plus 700 at Bet365 to score a goal tonight. So watch out for that. If Johansson doesn't play, it's likely Liam Ogren that is going to get that spot left on the left side of that second line for the Minnesota Wild tonight. So keep an eye on that. Yeah, Krug is out long term there, Bailey. We're not going to be seeing him. We may not even play again, quite honestly. That's how unfortunate what's going on with Torrey Krug right now. And he's, again, expected to be a pretty big part of this Minnesota team. For St. Louis, Brandon Saad. I actually think Brandon Saad's worth a look. He's moved up to the top line tonight with Jake Neighbors and with Robert Thomas on the top line. So Brandon Saad actually had one of his better offensive years last year. Plus 375 at Bet365 for a guy playing on the top line. If indeed Saad starts there, as it looks like, yeah, that's worth a look. And Bolduc looks like is going to be on the second line with Kyrou and Buchnevich. So Zachary Bolduc, and you can find him plus 400. There's some good value with both of them, Saad and Bolduc, here tonight, in my opinion, for the St. Louis Blues in this one. All right, let's move on to Seattle and Nashville, who had the Music City Nashville Predators winless after their first two games. Well, losing to Dallas is not that shocking. Dallas is very good, but it's getting shut out by the Detroit Red Wings that took a lot of us by surprise. But it's not like they didn't have chances. They peppered 42 shots on goal against Detroit. It was just one of those nights Cam Talbot had it. He was in the zone. He was in a groove, and he turned aside all 42 Nashville shots in that game. Now they're back home for their second home game. Predators minus 190, home favorites, 6 the total in this game. I like spots like this as far as going against the grain of what happened the last game for these two teams. What did we last see with both the Seattle Kraken and the Nashville Predators? We saw the Seattle Kraken get shut out 2-0 by the Dallas Stars. Well, guess what? Dallas shut out back-to-back teams over the weekend, the Islanders and the Kraken. So let's not hold it against Seattle. You know, that it was obviously anytime you get shut out, it's a bad offensive night and a bad offensive performance. But Dallas has played pretty solid defensively in their first few games, especially over the weekend. So I don't want to give Seattle too much grief for getting shut out. Nashville got shut out by Detroit in their last game, but they had 42 shots on goal. What do you think these two coaches, Dan Bylsma and Andrew Brunette, are going to emphasize going into this game after both of them being shut out? Oh, yeah, getting their offense going. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see tonight. Now, I am concerned about Seattle, especially offensively so far, because they're doing all the right things to try to generate more goals. They're playing with more speed. They're playing more attack-minded. They're playing with more pace under Bylsma. All the things we said would happen. But the problem is the puck's not going in for them right now. And you got to wonder at some point, is this personnel? Do they just not have enough finish up and down their lineup, even with adding Chandler Stevenson? You know, even with getting Montour now on the blue line, is there just not enough finish of these chances? And there's not enough conversion of these opportunities so far, even though they're playing faster and playing to generate more offense in this new system under Bylsma. So that's something to get concerned with. But I think tonight could be a night where you get some offense from Seattle. And I think Nashville's way overdue, you know, to get some of their chances to go into the back of the net here. Now, it is Joey Decord, and you know I like him. There's no doubt as a goaltender. But I think Nashville back home, sometimes when you see these type of situations, guys, I can't count how many times I've seen this over my lifetime watching and betting NHL hockey. Team gets shut out and has 42 shots and gets shut out the last game. Sometimes the floodgates open the very next game for them. And I could see that for Nashville. There's too much talent for them to be held down indefinitely with Marchessault and Stamkos brought in, with Forsberg, Nyquist, and O'Reilly on your top line. I really like, in fact, first period over, full game over here in this game. This is an over by fact I like quite a bit here tonight in this game. I think both teams focus on getting their offense kick-started after getting shut out, getting blanked in their last game, and I think it shows tonight. So first period over, full game over, and I got over 5.5, minus 125. Shop around. There are 5.5s with juice. If you can find a 5.5, I think that's a phenomenal value here. I think both teams contribute enough goals tonight to send us over a low total. What do you think here, Alex, with Seattle, Nashville?
Yeah, I wasn't able to get that 5.5 at that price. I saw 130 and a 135, so I went on and grabbed 6 at plus 105. And I grabbed that small, meaning that I could, have a position to grab 5.5 at a cheaper price in game if there aren't any goals early. So that's the way I'm planning to approach that. But I like the overs here too, like that first period over. Already grabbed that 1.5 minus $1.18. Playing that small too because it's such a large card, but I do like both of those looks here. I think we see goals except Both teams need to get their offenses rolling as soon as possible. And I think they both of these teams lend themselves to playing an up and down kind of a game. So some people are looking in the chat talking about the draw. This didn't make my card for as far as the draw play, but if you do like the draw, maybe look at a correct score 3-3 or 4-4 to add on to that as well.
Yeah, I was looking to bet Nashville in this spot because I think they're going to win tonight. I do, but not at minus 190. And their team total, I kind of like their team total as well. But I think Seattle is going to focus on really getting some production going tonight after them getting shut out. And they got shut out to a damn good Dallas team. So I think Seattle's going to end up, chipping in some goals as well here in this one. And like I said, I think Nashville too. I've seen this movie unfold so many times, this script. Team gets shut out, and especially a shutout where they have 40, 45, 50 shots on goal. Next game, a lot of times the floodgates open, and all the goals they could have scored or should have scored against Detroit Saturday night for Nashville, they get those goals tonight in the next game. It happens a lot. Hopefully it happens tonight. What do you think here, Matt? Seattle, Nashville?
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I think two teams getting shut out in their last game. I'm on the over by Fecta. I'm also taking Seattle's team total over 2.5. This is a game. There's obviously value to be played on Seattle, but I could see it being, a 4-3, 5-4 type of game. Maybe OT, maybe not. Maybe a 6-4 empty net type game. So I think, taking Seattle team total over 2.5 is a good play. I watched that Dallas game Sunday, start to finish. It was actually the first Stars game I was able to sit down and watch from the beginning to the end. I was traveling last weekend, so I think Seattle had some chances. I think, we'll get into Dallas here in a second, but I was impressed with how they were able to clear pucks out after, those initial chances. But Seattle definitely had chances to score. And I think tonight they get a couple through in Music City. So I'm looking for a lot of goals tonight. I'll be on that bifecta, but I think I also will be taking Seattle team total over 2.5. I think they get to 3 goals tonight. No problem.
Obviously, the big guns are going to maybe fire at any moment. Nyquist, O'Reilly, Forsberg, although Forsberg has scored already this year. Marchessault, Stamkos. But Cole Smith is up on the second line tonight with Marchessault and Stamkos. So there's definitely some Cole Smith value as far as player props and a goal prop tonight for the Nashville Predators. So that's definitely something that you want to keep in. He could be worth a look as far as the goal prop market tonight in this game. Looks like we're having connection issues on my end. So things are locking up here, but we'll see if we can get that to fix itself. I think got the screen freeze in here, and see if we can get things back on track. Just 1 second.
I'm not sure if you guys can hear me or not.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. I think it's just Ian. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cause my computer was going on at the same time as his, so I could hear him. So we're just getting him back in a minute.
All right, we're back. Sorry about that. I told you I could.
It
was locking up on me, but here we are. We're back, and we are back on track. I was just saying, Cole Smith is on the second line with Nashville tonight, so I definitely think there's going to be some value looking toward him tonight, playing with Marchessault and with Stamkos. Those are the kind of things you like to see, without a doubt. For Seattle, Shane Wright, Chandler Stevenson, they're two that I would maybe take a shot with here tonight. They've had chances, hasn't gone in yet. Doesn't mean it won't indefinitely. All right, San Jose and Dallas. Next up, we've got Dallas minus 380, home favorites, 6 the total in this game. This game bothers me. It really does. Dallas has the potential to go in there and clobber this team 5-1, 6-1. But I remember they played San Jose at home last year, and it was a sleepy, lethargic, just get through the game and find a way to win, even if it's ugly. I think they had a 3-1 win type of deal last year at home against San Jose. I could see something like that I mean, the first thought is maybe Dallas team total over, but I think it could be a sleepy night at the AAC for this Dallas Stars team. Obviously, I don't want to take San Jose, but I'm telling you, I worry about Dallas just kind of lollygagging a little bit here tonight in this game. But I'm totally off the game. I don't have anything, quite honestly, in this game. Let's throw it to Matt because he's the Dallas Stars guy of us. What do you think here, Matt? Sharks, Stars.
Yeah, obviously, when you see a game like this, minus 380, is it 0.9 for Dallas? Are there some good prop bets? I'm probably going to stay off this game as well. I do think something I've noticed, again, just watching highlights of those first two games and then watching on Sunday, I think Dallas kind of understands that, their window is now. And these points matter. You see Colorado still hasn't won a game. Excuse me. Nashville struggling as well so far. Sorry.
Sounds like a guy that's done some drinking the last few days. Yeah.
No, I think Dallas kind of understands, like, they've got to have these points. San Jose is the inferior team. I was kind of hoping to see Macklin Celebrini play this game. Obviously, he's out. That takes away a little bit of the excitement of this game. I think Dallas comes away with 2 points. For me, it's maybe a live spot. If San Jose scores early, then maybe you take Dallas. I know last year they had a game. I think they were down 4-1 to San Jose, came back and got it done in OT. That's really where the value is here. There are some props I like. I'll talk about a few later on in the show. But Miro Heiskanen has 0 points this year. I think he chips in. He's, obviously on that first power play and getting a lot of minutes. I don't think a goal or assist prop from him is a bad play. I do expect Dallas to get 3 or 4 goals. It's just, these are those games. It was similar to Dallas San Jose late last season. There's just not a lot of value. Even Dallas team total over 3.5 is like, I think I saw it at like minus 140, minus 150. Like, there's just not, value there. Do I think they can get to 4 goals? Absolutely. Will this probably be a game I just, hope they play well and enjoy? Yes, as well. I did see Sagan's going to be out tonight, so I would stay off, Marchman, Duchesne props. I think that line, really is better when the 3 of them are playing together. It looks like we'll see Bork make his 2024 season debut. But I think, with how I'm seeing the lines, I think your best bet as far as props outside of Miro, Jamie Benn, Wyatt Johnston, Stankoven, those are guys that I think chip in tonight. And they showed against Seattle that Sam Steele, nice goal, Blackwell with the primary assist. They're going to be a team that it's one of those things where, we'll see who shows up. I think Robertson's kind of due to have a good game. I think Hintz has kind of been snake bitten. He'd like to chip in. If there's 5 or 6 goals, I think a lot of those guys are going to hit as far as props go. But yeah, these, especially early in the season, a minus 380, it just seems like a game I want to stay off of. I think Dallas does get it done. I think they know that they need these 2 points. They need to keep kind of chipping away at, getting that distance in the Central Division. But this could be a weird game. San Jose could go up 2-0 in the first, and I wouldn't be shocked. We'll see how it plays out. But that would really be my only look on Dallas, is if they do go down in the first period. But at the same time, with how, the last 2 games have gone, will Dallas give up a goal in this game? Who knows? As you said yesterday, don't say someone's due until it happens. Maybe Dallas is just never going to give up a goal at the AAC. Obviously, I'm joking, but until it happens, I'm going to wait and bet on that. So, we'll see how tonight goes.
Well, I will say this. If you can shut out Seattle and you can shut out the New York Islanders, you can certainly shut out San Jose, especially without Macklin Celebrini. Let's be honest. Without Macklin Celebrini, that first game without him, zip from the Sharks offensively in that game against Anaheim. Now, I know Dostal played well, but he is already that big of a deal for San Jose offensively. He had a hand in so much of what San Jose did against St. Louis, in that first game. So don't sleep on already in just his first few games as an NHLer how big of a loss Macklin Celebrini already is here for the San Jose Sharks. There's no doubt. As far as props, there's a few that stick out. Johnston and Stankoven. Yeah, I couldn't argue that for Dallas. I'd sprinkle on Maverick Bourque, getting the shot, even though, you worry about whether the chemistry will be there right away. And I like Dodonov up on the top line, getting the chance tonight with Hintz and Robertson. So I think Evgeny Dodonov's got a little bit of value. For San Jose, I don't know how much offense they're going to have. They got shut out by Anaheim. But I would say Zetterlund, Eklund, Toffoli would be my looks if I were to take anybody there. Alex, what do you think here? Sharks, Stars.
Yeah, the only thing I'm going to take a shot with pregame is the draw, and that's just because it's such a high price at plus 430. But this will be one I'll be watching and kind of looking for some in-game looks with. But it wouldn't shock me one bit. We've seen this be a fairly close series. If you look at the last 4 meetings, Dallas won 3 of them, but 2 of those games did have to go past regulation. So, like I said, tricky line, tricky spot. Dallas should win this game 7-3, 8-3, but we know that's usually not the case. So I'm going to take a flyer with that draw at plus 430.
Wow, big flyer with the draw. Like I say, this is a game where anything could happen. I think it could be like a 2-1 tight, 3-1 tight, 3-2 overtime type win for Dallas. Hell, could San Jose stun them? Yeah, I don't think so, but even that's not a crazy. Or it could be a Dallas romp. Anything I think could happen here with this one tonight. At this price, I would say if you're going to play the money line, you have to. At this price, you have to either take a shot in the dark with San Jose that they can rise up and pull a shocker, or you pass. You cannot lay. And I love Dallas. Nobody loves Dallas more than me and Matt. Certainly Matt, but there's no way I can lay a price like this with them, especially this early in the season. All right, Chicago and Calgary. We've got Calgary minus 150 home favorites. The total sitting at 6, shaded to the over in this game. Again, I always say don't bet against the teams that are undefeated until they lose, but we're also talking about a team that's now being asked to lay minus 150. It's a different story when I'm taking Calgary as a big dog against Vancouver. It's a different story when I'm taking Calgary as a big dog against Edmonton in the Battle of Alberta on Sunday night. And I know you say don't bet against the undefeated teams, but I'm leaning toward doing that here tonight. Calgary is a minus 150. There's still flaws in that blue line. There's still issues as far as keeping the puck out of their net. I like what I see offensively, though. There's no doubt about that. I'm impressed with Zary. I'm impressed with a lot of their forwards up front. There's no question they're going to be able to score some goals this year, but I do have some concerns about what I'm seeing from them still at the back end. We'll see if hungry like the wolf. Well, Dustin Wolf does in between the pipes here for Calgary tonight. Of course, he was in net for the Philadelphia game on Saturday. Played pretty solid. Gave up 3 goals still. But again, the blue line's still a work in progress, in front of him. I think at this price, I'm not running to bet Chicago, but I think there is some value on Chicago. What I like about Chicago intangibly, they have the 2 losses, tough losses, Utah, Winnipeg, but they bounced back and they played a great game against Edmonton. The power play got going. Bedard was phenomenal. Teravainen was excellent. They finally got some offense rolling. And I like that when you lose your first couple games and then you get that first win, now there's a little pep in your step. Now there's a little bounce in the stride for the Chicago Blackhawks as they make the trip here to Calgary for this game tonight. And I think that probably is a benefit for them going into this game. It looks like we do have Mrazek as well confirmed. So both goalies confirmed here. Mrazek for Chicago, Wolf for Calgary. By the way, Ottinger, Blackwood, I forgot to mention that. The goalies in the San Jose Dallas game. But yeah, at this price, I would lean a little bit taking a shot. Probably will take a small shot here with the Blackhawks at plus 130. This is probably another one where I think the over by Fecht is in play. Chicago, Calgary, first period and full game over. Alex, Chicago, Calgary.
Yeah, I like the Hawks here in this spot too. I actually grabbed plus 135 this morning, so we've seen that come down a little bit.
They played very well against Calgary recent meetings as well. It's another thing
they have. They play very, very well against Calgary, and I think that momentum from the Edmonton win can carry over here. This is obviously a weaker team. So slightly, I'd say better goalie, even though Calvin Pickard has done fairly well in his career, but I think facing a tougher goalie here in Wolf, but a overall weaker team. Like I said, I think the Hawks. Like I said, we've been able to. This is a team that's also been able to get some momentum with these early West Coast road trips. Keep in mind, for years and years, the Hawks used to play these West Coast trips around November, and usually the team would be well out of the race by that point. The last couple of years, we've seen them go on the road early to start the year, build that. We talked about that. And we've talked about it in a lot of the team previews. A lot of the camaraderie that's built early in the year, especially when you have newer pieces, younger players in a group. So having these road trips can be really good for I think these guys. So I like the Hawks here, and there's a player that I have circled in particular that'll be my bargain bin special coming up in a little bit.
No doubt. Yeah, as far as I also hear, I saw some Eric Francis who reports on the Flames. I think they're doing something on the video board during the game to acknowledge that Rick Ball is back in town as well.
Oh,
that's
nice.
how popular. That is how loved he was in Calgary as a broadcaster. Thought the world of him. I know the Flame fan base, they were devastated when they found out he took the Blackhawks job there. And I understand why. He's phenomenal. Anyone that's listened to him, he does just an outstanding job. I know Blackhawks fans have compared his voice to the radio voice of the team, John Weideman.
Yeah.
There's definitely some similarities there. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, there was one time I was actually kind of working one night just listening to the game and I had to turn and look because it sounded just like John Weideman.
Yeah, definitely some similarities. So, like I say, back in Calgary early too, first week of the year, and back in Calgary where I think he spent 10 years as the voice of the Calgary Flames on television. But Bedard, Teravainen props I like here in this game tonight for the Chicago Blackhawks for sure. And then for Calgary, a lot of the players I mentioned, that you want to target. Connor Zary, Martin Pospisil, who stepped up and scored. Sam Honzik has not scored yet, but he's still getting the opportunity alongside Kadri on the top line. But definitely Justin Kirkland scored the other night. Now he's down on the fourth line. He's not going to get the minutes, but he did score his first NHL goal against Edmonton. We will see if he can do that one more time here tonight. Matt, what are you liking here with Chicago, Calgary?
Yeah, I lean Chicago in the spot. I think Calgary's off to a good start, but they do already have that home opener win. I don't know. I think to Alex's point, Chicago going on the road, young group, it's a good time for them to gel. I'm sure they, got there yesterday, maybe had a good dinner last night, hang with the boys. So I like Chicago to come out and win tonight. I think it's one of those situations where, like, hey, give credit where credit's due. Calgary's 3-0, but I don't think Calgary's, a dominant team by any stretch. And I think this is a good spot for Chicago, especially getting that plus 130. So I lean Chicago here. I'm back and forth. I like the first period over. I think the game over, I could see this being like a 3-2 win. So I'll probably stay off the full game over, but I could see a couple goals in this first period. I think Chicago is going to want to come out, and I think Calgary has kind of been rolling. So, but yeah, I lean Chicago here.
Yeah, and by the way, look, Calgary, thank you. Thank you for what they've done so far for me this year in my bankroll with the underdog win against Vancouver. And thank you for the underdog win the other night against Edmonton when it was just really more of a fade of the Oilers in that kind of a price range. But it's all about the price. Now we're being asked to lay minus 150 with this team. That's a completely different story. And I like that little angle of Chicago's dominated Calgary, and they're off a win, a little more bounce in their step now as they go to Calgary for this game. So that's the reasons for me trying to step in front of this winless Flames, or undefeated, I should say, Flames team tonight. All right, the last game of this Tuesday slate, Philadelphia and Edmonton. We've got the Oilers minus 200, home favorite, 6.5 the total. Now, this game's the poster child for what I've been preaching the last couple days. Don't bet on the teams that are winless until they win, but especially at these prices. You can try, betting on like a Vancouver, like I am tonight, even though they're winless, because they're plus 115, and I like that they're going on the road. This is different. This is Edmonton's winless. They've not looked good, and they're still laying minus 200. You can't touch them at this price. Can't touch them. Can't touch them. You can't at all for the Edmonton Oilers here right now. At all. Give me Philly. Prove it, Edmonton. Prove it. I took Calgary against you the other night, and it worked out. And prove it. Prove that you can get your shit together. And the one thing you're going to get from a John Tortorella coached Flyers team is effort, compete. Now, they're not always going to win. We saw that. I thought their effort level was solid, even though they lost to Calgary Saturday. But they made a couple mistakes. A couple of times they've had some breakdowns defensively. But, you're going to get a good, honest effort from them right now. So, like I say, prove it if you're Edmonton. Until I see it, I see a win. I see a good performance. I see 60 minutes. I see your stars showing up. Where's Connor McDavid? Where's Leon Draisaitl? Where is Zach Hyman, the star of the show last year for so much of this? Of that great season last year. He's been quiet. Nugent Hopkins, the whole lot have not really done a whole lot at all. So I think this is a situation where, for me, it's very simple. I have no problem taking a chance with Philly here at plus 170 tonight and dare Edmonton as a favorite that they have no business being at the moment, given their current form, to show me that they can get the job done. Once again, I find myself leaning to an over by Fecta, but again, that's contingent upon Edmonton busting out offensively. We've been calling for it a couple days now. We called for it against Chicago. It didn't happen, but that game still went over the total in the full game because of Chicago scoring 5 goals, including that late goal in the third period. The Calgary game, Calgary did their part, but Edmonton didn't do enough offensively. So it kind of feels like if I'm taking the over by Fecta, it's kind of like insurance policy if Philly loses tonight, because my thought is if Edmonton wins and busts out tonight, it's going to go over the total potentially in the first period and full game. So I'm going to sprinkle on the over by Fecta, but I'm going to take Philly plus 170. What do you think here, Alex? Flyers, Oilers?
This is a pass for me, but it would be Philly or nothing. At the spot, like you said, this price is way too insane, and I get it. The books are protecting themselves because everybody's just going to keep betting Edmonton until they finally win a game. So you can't make this really a true fair line. If this was minus 150, everybody would be hammering Edmonton and moving this number. So I understand the price, but I'm not touching it here. If it's Philly or nothing, I'm just going to go with nothing.
There you go. Alex can't touch it. The game here tonight with with the Flyers and the Oilers. Yeah. You know what? The funny thing about MC Hammer is his song is like got the template. It's got the template, and it makes little tweaks to the template. But most of his songs sounded the same. Like They Can't Touch This sounded the same as Hammer. They put me in the mix. It sounded like that. And then there were a couple other ones that just
too
there
legit.
wasn't a lot of variation.
They all had. Yeah, it was pretty much the same kind of 4/4 beat. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like a million. It's like 5 or 6 hit singles that he has of the same fucking song because it sounded similar. It's like AC/DC. I love AC/DC, but it's like 20 songs that sound exactly
all the same. Yeah. Same key, same everything.
Yeah. I mean, I love them, but it's like 20 different songs that sounded very, 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 very similar. And they made a career out of it, though. So well done to Angus and the crew. What do you think here, Matt? Philadelphia and Edmonton.
First off, AC/DC's elite. It was my second concert that I ever attended. My dad took. I've actually seen him 3 times, but my dad took me. I was probably like 12 or 13, and obviously an eye-opening experience seeing AC/DC live. So, big AC/DC fan. No, but for this game, I sort of agree with Alex here. I'm probably gonna stay off. I could make this for the first period over. Edmonton's gonna want to come out and score. Philly. I lean Philly here. If I was taking a side, I mean, plus 170, you can't argue that value, especially with how Edmonton's played this season. You talked about it yesterday. I mentioned it earlier in the show, but don't bet against Edmonton or, don't bet Edmonton because they're due, let them prove it. So if you're going to take a side, I take Philly here. I don't know. We'll see how the day goes. Maybe at what time does this game start? My time, like 7:00. Maybe at that point in the night, I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to take a shot at the first period over or take a little on Philly. But as far as right now goes, I don't have anything on this game. It's going to be a pass for me.
All right, let's a pass. As far as props, I'll throw a couple. I mean, it's load up time tonight. Loading up the top line. Chris Knobloch, double K. He's getting a little desperate here. Draisaitl, McDavid, Hyman. All on the top line tonight for the Oilers. Vasily Podkolzin moved up to the second line with the Nuge and Arvidsson. So Podkolzin's probably got some good value playing on the second line tonight. Jeff Skinner with Adam Henrique and Connor Brown. Corey Perry got robbed of a goal on Sunday against Calgary. He might be worth a sprinkle. And then for Philly, Mishkov, I like that he's on the right wing side. I agree. Frost, Tippett, anyone on that top line, I'll throw one out there. John Tortorella is going with this 18-year-old young center, Jet Luchenko. He's going to be his second-line center tonight. Now, he's got great speed, plays a great two-way game. They like him quite a bit. How will he fare, though? This is a second-line center of responsibility against a team that, when they're right, and obviously Edmonton hasn't been right so far this year, but when they are right, they are on their game, they can be a lethal team to handle. So how's this young 18-year-old second-line center, Jet Luchenko, going to handle it tonight for the Philadelphia Flyers? I think actually there's value with him, too, considering his position in the lineup tonight on that second-line center as far as a goal prop in this game tonight. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. Appreciate you joining us. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. And also, if you haven't done so already, sign up and subscribe at patreon.com/iceguys. Just $10 per month. And of course, you'll get our daily betting card, sides, totals, player props, goalie charts, totals charts. I'll have power ratings tomorrow on Wednesday on the page. First ones of the year, updated after 1 full week of data, 1 full week of results for all these teams. We'll have updated power ratings posted on the page. Again, the daily betting card. We got exclusive live betcasts on the way throughout the season as well. All that and more for just $10 per month. And again, your subscription goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it rolling in the long term. $10 per month. Sign up now. Patreon.com/iceguys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. We've got everything in stock right now, all the hoodies, all the caps, all the T-shirts, jackets, everything you want. We got it right now over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
I know what Jake Rogers, the catcher of the Detroit Tigers, looks like. And you're right, Matt does look a little bit like him with the mustache. I agree. That's not a bad call there.
Yeah, I see that. I see that.
Not bad. Very good. Yeah, should be a ball player right now. Should be in the ALCS right now, Matt.
Wish I was.
No. You picked the right sport, hockey. A lot more entertaining, a lot more exciting. I like baseball, but come on. If anyone tells me baseball is like a more exciting sport than hockey, you need your head examined.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. All right, good stuff, guys. We'll be back in just a moment with Bargain Bin Special of the night and best bets coming right up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Manscaped, Power Play Sportsbook, Raise Your Game, Tailgater Sofa, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
All right. Thanks to our great sponsors, a plethora of them this year supporting the show, including, of course, Boston Hemp Inc., our daily sponsor. 20% off all orders on the website using the promo code IceGuys at bostonhempinc.com. All right. If at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. The late, great Aaliyah, rest in peace. She's up there with Johnny right now. Gaudreau, that is. Try again. And that's what we're going to do with the Bargain Bin Special of the night. Try again. We'll get one of these days. Yeah, it's been a tough start. Other than Calder Brooks getting us off of the schneid with Nikita Kucherov and his 4-point night on Friday for the Tampa Bay Lightning. But they'll come. Alex, what do you think here? Bargain Bin Special of the night for this Tuesday.
Well, in tough times and moments, you got to turn to players we can trust. And there's one player I know I can trust on in the Chicago Blackhawks, and that's the captain. Looking at Nick Foligno, plus 400. You can grab him at FanDuel if they open back up. It was locked when we were talking about the game earlier. I'm also seeing plus 380 at BetMGM. But playing on that first line, also playing on that first power play line, being the bumper in front, I think he's going to get a chance to get a goal here tonight against Calgary. So give me Il Capitano, Nick Foligno, the Chicago Blackhawks, plus 380. Anytime goal scorer for my bargain bin special tonight.
All right. Tricky Nicky Foligno, captain of the Blackhawks, plus 400 for Alex B. Smith, his bargain bin special of the night. Matt, what you got for bargain bin?
Yeah, so I actually have a bonus bargain bin from our friend Ryan Robinson. He put this together last night. He's got a plus 340 parlay with Stars puck line, Robertson anytime goal, and Miro anytime point. So if you like the Stars to get a lot of points tonight and win easy, great bargain bin there for you. But I'm actually going to go against the grain here, and I'm taking Ty Dellandrea anytime goal scorer. I think, he was a big player for Dallas. I mean, 2 years ago, that Game 5 in Vegas, he was the hero that kind of extended that series and gave Dallas a chance to go back to Big D. I think, he kind of got pushed out. It's just like, to me, it came down to him or Sam Steele. I love Sam Steele as well, but I think Ty Dellandrea can be a good player. He's getting a little more opportunity there in San Jose, and I think he's going to come back to Big D and want to make an impression. I'm sure I'll have some friends and family in the arena. So give me Ty Dellandrea anytime goal. I've seen it as low as plus 650, as high as like plus 900. So make sure you shop around for that one.
All right. I like it. We didn't mention it, but yes, Ty Dellandrea, now a member of the San Jose Sharks, but obviously previously with Dallas. So you've got the former team angle involved there. So Ty Dellandrea, San Jose, for Matt Robinson with his bargain bin special of the night. For my bargain bin special of the night, look, I think every bargain bin pick that I've had so far has been a forward, and none of them have come through for me. So the forwards can go fuck themselves at this point, as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to a defenseman tonight for my bargain bin special of the night, and we're going to Florida Columbus. We're taking Zach Werenski for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He scored in back-to-back games for the Blue Jackets to start the year. He got a goal against Minnesota. He got a goal against Colorado. And I think tonight, with all that emotion in that building, and him being one of the veterans and leaders now of that team, you're going to see Zach Werenski maybe make it 3 straight games with a goal to begin the season. Zach Werenski plus 450 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's going to be my bargain bin special of the night for this Tuesday NHL slate. All right, best bets. Alex, a buzzer beater best bet winner for him yesterday. What do you got tonight?
Yeah, hopefully it won't need to be this much of a nail biter like last night. But we're going with Tampa Bay taking on Vancouver, heading back home opener. Like I said, it's been a really rough time for the people down there in Tampa. Thoughts are with everybody, of course. But this is just a good team in the Lightning, and we're getting them at a cheap price in regulation, plus 110 against Vancouver. That's a team they've dominated. They've won 6 of the last 7 meetings against Vancouver. So taking them within 60. Tampa Bay Lightning in regulation is my best bet here tonight.
All right, there we go. Tampa Bay Lightning in regulation against Vancouver. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. Matt Robinson, great job as usual. What do you like here tonight for best bet?
Yeah, I'm going to go out to that New Jersey-Carolina game. I think there's going to be some goals early. I think, New Jersey's been rolling a bit. Obviously was disappointed that in their game against Utah yesterday, it was 0-0 after the first. I thought that was going to be goals galore. But I expect them to bounce back, come out hot. And, again, Carolina is 1 game into the season, but I think they're going to be grinding for a win tonight. So I think they'll come out with some heat as well. I like 2 goals in that game in the first period. New Jersey, Carolina. That's my best bet.
All right. New Jersey, Carolina, first period over for Matt Robinson with his best bet for this Tuesday NHL slate. And my best bet, I think it's one of the best situational spots we'll see all season, and I expect it to play out that way for the Columbus Blue Jackets in a very emotional night at Nationwide Arena. And I think they play this game with the intensity and the focus of getting the job done like a team playing in Game 7 of a playoff series would. They catch Florida on a back-to-back off a Very satisfying win against a hated team like the Bruins. It's a nice bet against spot for Florida as well, and with Spencer Knight in net instead of Sergei Bobrovsky. I think it sets up perfectly for Columbus. We'll take the Blue Jackets plus 130 against the Florida Panthers tonight. That is going to be my best bet here for this Tuesday NHL card. Great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it very much. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. Tomorrow on Wednesday is Power Play Sportsbook Wednesday, and we'll have Larry Fisher from Power Play Sportsbook on for his Wednesday spot on the Betting Man Advantage as part of the show tomorrow. For Alex B. Smith and Matt Robinson, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck, and we will see you tomorrow on Wednesday for another edition of the Ice Guys.